Games set in a dystopian future are nothing new, but Fallout games have near perfected them. The Outer Worlds is considered as a modern Fallout game done right, and New Vegas is one of, if not the best in the series. Let's find out which is the better RPG and which is the better game overall. New Vegas is set in New Vegas, and the game has the same look as titles released in the early to mid period in the Xbox 360 era. It's a very distinct look, but I just can't quite describe it. Another interesting fact about the game that gets overlooked is that it's not made by Bethesda. It's actually developed by Obsidian Entertainment. It's funny because gamers love pointing to New Vegas to remember the good old days of Bethesda, when in fact the game wasn't even made by them. Visually, New Vegas doesn't really hold up, but that's expected. But when you just look at RPG mechanics, it's one of the best even now. A good role-playing game should give you choices, and when you do decide on something, the game world around you should react or be affected in some or the other way. New Vegas does just that. The game has a ton of options and paths and choices and decisions for you to make, and more importantly, they affect the world around you in ways you wouldn't expect. The way the story branches out depending on your actions is something you'll appreciate more and more with replays. For me, New Vegas is an almost perfect model of what an RPG should be about.
All right. I'm gonna say a word. I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind. Dog. House. Night.
The fourth main installment in the iconic franchise is not as good as 3 or New Vegas in some ways, but it's definitely not as bad as gamers make it seem. The game is set in Boston, the color palette is turned up, gone are the days of the infamous green tint. That particular visual style appeals to fans of the series, but it's kind of off-putting for some reason for casual gamers and the mainstream audience. It's silly, but I've seen people not giving it a chance solely because of the green tint. The more noticeable problems with the game, graphics-wise, were the pretty ordinary textures, lighting in certain areas looked alright, but mostly it was too flat. Character models follow the same trend as well. In certain angles they look decent, but mostly they don't look like they belong to a 2015 game. The dialogue options in the main campaign were a bit of a letdown as well. There are different options, sure, but most often they just lead you to the same destination. Fallout 4 is a good RPG, but it falls short of the lofty standard its predecessors set.
They're really gone, aren't they?
Sean's out there, Codsworth. I need to find him.
What about Concord, sir? Plenty of people there. And last I checked, they only pummeled me with sticks a few times before I had to run back home.
The Outer Worlds was a gift to Fallout fans that no one expected. While the game isn't an open world like the series it's inspired from, it still gives you a sense of freedom. Surprise, surprise, the newest game in this comparison is the better looking game. The game is set in the Halcyon system. The setting is my least favorite out of the 3, but I don't have any particular reasons, so that might be just me. The number of decisions you have aren't astronomical, but when they are meaningful, high quality and thought out, it really isn't a problem. So while Fallout 4 has a larger variety, the Outer Worlds definitely has the more meaningful ones. The characters are what makes the game so special. I have replayed it twice, and I did so partly because of the interesting occupants in the world of the Outer Worlds. The game is made by Obsidian Entertainment, the same developers from New Vegas, and hence the naming as spiritual sequel. If this isn't a sign to let them make another Fallout game, I don't know what is. The game is a solid RPG experience, but when you're up against peak Fallout games, solid won't get the job done. New Vegas is the better RPG, but Outer Worlds is the better game overall, especially because of the slick combat mechanics and technical advancements. If a casual player had to pick one RPG, I'm sure they'll go with the Outer Worlds, because at the end of the day, graphics do matter. How much? That's debatable. But if you want to play a masterfully crafted role-playing game, you'll never go wrong with Fallout New Vegas. If you want to support the channel, become a Patreon member, like, dislike, share, subscribe, comment, and anything else you want. Thanks for watching and have a great day.